A lot of people are interested about margin. Maybe perhaps they don't know how to use it. They're curious about it. And please, I'm on my laptop, so I hope I sound clear. I hope I'm not too loud, and I hope you don't hear my AC unit. Velocity, flow, living from margin. This is going to be a breakdown how I pay my bills using margin. A complete breakdown, my exact 2 week cycle, my real monthly income versus my expenses, how much margin I actually used. And this is all coming straight from my wealth roadmap, which I'll be doing the video on soon, how I created the wealth roadmap and how you guys can use the wealth roadmap for free. You'll be able to put in your numbers and see where you are margin wise and where you'll be within 1 year to 2 to 5 years to 10 years if you begin to implement this system. Again, full disclaimer, this is not financial advice, it's educational only. I'm just showing my journey. And my last announcement, I am officially affiliate partner with Paycheck to Portfolio. The link will be in the description to the community where you can see all of his tools, where you'll be just around a group of people who are trying this, who are doing this, who are basically their lives are changing during this journey. I'll be doing a full breakdown on how to get started with it. What one specific thing I like is the crash stress test. You put in your numbers. If the market drops 20%, it'll be able to show you what your portfolio will be. But on with the video about margin, right? So the idea is that we invest our same W-2 income that we've always made, the money we've always made for years working hard overtime. We're investing all or some of that check. We borrow for bills and we repay on payday and we repeat the cycle. So the idea behind it is instead of spending paycheck on bills, I invest all of it into assets, then cover my living cost with margin, a low rate loan, if you will, against the growing portfolio. The next paycheck pays the margin back down and the cycle repeats and my money never stops compounding. The old way would be paycheck, we'll pay our bills and zero or little, any invested or little saved. Now the new way, my way that I'm doing, my paycheck comes in, I invest it, I borrow specific bills from margin and I repay it back on payday and I repeat the cycle. My 2 week cycle, my income comes in every 2 weeks, which is approximately 3,756. I invest all of it or some of it into assets. So I buy my core holdings, which will be right here. So I'll invest in my NVIDIA, Tesla, DRAM, VOO, VTI, Chippy. I did rotate out of the dividend stocks to rotate into more of these stocks that have been on sale as of recent. But after I invest my check into those assets, then I pull my bills from margin. And for me, for check one, my first check of the month, the the bills tally up to be around 2,900. I get paid again. I deposit this $3,756 back into the account. Then check two, after I invest that amount of my check, then I pull again for bills, which is 2,565. And simultaneously, I pull $300 to pay down a credit card, which is at 13%. But all the while, I'm keeping my margin in a good, safe, controllable place. I cap it at 28%. So I'm at 100% when I have no cash left over. Everything has been invested. And I use up to 28% of my available margin that I do have. 7,500. My dividends are very low because I just rotated out of my dividends to buy the growth stocks. I'll be getting into the dividend stocks as my account gets bigger. Plus, I do trade, so whatever money I do need, right, I'll get it from trading. I made $591 today. That's that. The net result of the 7,500 of income stays invested and the compounding, while 6,000 of the monthly costs are covered by margin and paid back every day on every time I get paid on payday. So that's essentially the system. The bucket system, my paycheck pours in the asset buckets. Bills never come out of those. They're drawn from a separate margin bucket that the next paycheck refills. Your shares are never sold to pay a bill, so they keep compounding. A couple of years ago, remember how I told you guys that I had a lot of shares of Nvidia, Tesla, Google, Microsoft, and I sold most of them, really all of it, to pay off some debt. I knew nothing about margin. So if I knew about margin, I just would have borrowed against the value of my stocks and paid off the debt. So again, why borrow instead of sell? Selling triggers taxes and stops compounding. So essentially I had to start all back over and invest in building my account back up from the ground up. Borrowing against the assets keeps every share working while your bills still get paid. And that is the goal. Not the old way, the new way, where we compound our assets. Now, how much margin do I actually use? So the dollar amount of margin grows as the portfolio grows, but the ratio never moves. I keep it pinned at 28% of portfolio value, the rule that makes this safe instead of reckless. Today at 20K, 14.5% of using margin is basically, for me at this stage, is a 2 week pay cycle or 2 week bill cycle, 2,900. At 12 months, when my account is at 52K, 28% of 52K is 14,000. So my ratio doesn't change. The dollar amount will change, but the ratio stays the same. Right. And if I ever get over 35%, I just stop investing, period. And every time I get paid, I will only borrow from margin to pay my bills. I won't do any investing out of my paycheck. So that's what I like to do. I know Sean Grady, he likes to he likes to run off 50%. That's fine and well. My risk tolerance, I like to keep it at 28%. I'll go further in margin if we have a huge market crash and I can buy the assets at a deep discount. And that's really why I keep my margin capped at 28%, so I can have enough dry powder to buy into those assets at a great low price point, like we have been doing this whole week. So my margin rate at Robinhood is at 5%. The credit card I'm attacking is at 13%. So borrowing at 5% to wipe 13% debt is an 8% spread off the top. So it's already working for me. And the small amount of dividends, they land every cycle to pay down the margin debt passively. Again, right now I'm only getting $10 a week from Chippy because I've sold out of my dividend assets and rotated it into the ETFs, into my individual stocks. But eventually, as the count gets bigger, this is going to be the lever for why we have the dividends. Borrowing at a cheaper rate to pay off a higher interest rate debt. So in a 12-month projection, starting from today, by next year, I should be up at 50K or above 50K. The 50K simulation is just showing the actual amount that I'll be investing every 2 weeks. This is not showing any market growth or any return. This is just me contributing every 2 weeks with the margin being capped at 28% the whole way. So dividends will climb from $50 to $100 to $200 every time I continue to invest in higher assets. And again, about margin, I don't say most channels skip it. I don't think they go into depth about margin, but you are essentially using leverage. And when you use it, when you over leverage, you can get margin call. So a margin call is a big enough drop in the market can force a sale at the worst moment. I keep percent, right? I keep mine at 28% specifically so this never triggers. So if you're over leveraged and the market goes against you, it amplifies your margin of what you have borrowed. The loan compounds against you every day it's open. The dividends and the payday repayment keep it from snowballing, but it can get out of control if you let it get out of control. Leverage goes both ways. It magnifies losses, not just the gains. And that's again exactly why I cap my margin every month or make sure it stays below 28%. And the cash buffer are non-negotiable. Those are non-negotiables for me. At 28%, I'll begin to dial back. The hard cap is really 35. So if you can't sleep with the position, if you're always focused on it each and every day, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, just sell some of your assets or bring in some money from your high yield savings account, wherever you have free money at, bring it into the account so you can take that risk and pressure off of yourself. And again, I'm buying ownership, but me and my faith, it's not mine anyway. So I'm being a good steward. So stewardship over greed. Leverage isn't the danger, character is. I borrow with a margin of safety, not a margin of ego. I'm capping my risk. I keep a cash buffer outside the account, and I plan to defend with the system on the worst possible day. We have the put insurance cap. We have what we need to take advantage when everybody is fearful. So the goal is never just money. It's about freedom, right? To live like I want to live, to not be so dependent on one stream of income, and the freedom to give generously without financial stress, right? And two keys to this is the discipline. The rules I follow when tempted to go above the 28% cap, it's just not worth it. I have a cash buffer and I'm never selling good assets for short term cash. With this, of having the purpose of using wealth as a tool to serve, not a scoreboard or not a showboating contest, but to serve. And patience now so I can be generous later. Dave Ramsey has a quote while he's totally against what I'm doing. You live like no one else now, so you can live like no one else later. And this is why we are doing this with discipline, with wisdom, and we're really shrinking the 30-year retirement plan to 5 to 7 years. So this is my journey. I'm not giving financial advice, but weekly, as you can see, I upload showing my portfolio, showing the system step by step of how I use it, and on how to use margin responsibly and not gamble with it and not for lifestyle creed. And in the next coming videos, I'll be going over my full wealth roadmap from 20K now to 50K to 500K. And it's amazing. Last year, September, I started this strategy at 2K and now we're at 20K. I'll be breaking down how it looks, how I put all my information in, and how you'll be able to use the wealth roadmap also for free. You just put your numbers in monthly and it'll give you a guideline on where you are now to get to where you want to go. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, please share, subscribe. Those likes really push these videos out in the YouTube streets algorithm. We need to reach as much people as possible with this. People's lives can be changed once they study, know the system, know their numbers, and they can actually see it of where they'll be in 2 to 3 years versus where they've been struggling at the past 2, 3 years. The wealth gap is getting bigger, and this is the year where we close that gap in our own household to get to where we want to be in our lives. So hope you guys have a good day. Blessings, and I'll talk to you in the next video.